So apparently I have kicked the hornet's nest within the God of War community. Yesterday I have tweeted this tweet about the Light Elves in God of War Ragnarok wielding katanas, that is the Japanese weapon of the samurais. And this tweet kind of blew up. My tweets don't really get that many likes nor reshares, but this one did get a lot. And I think it's because fans find this topic really fascinating. Now, some people completely disagree with me, they don't think these are katanas, and some people do. So it's a pretty divisive God of War topic right now in the community. And because I don't really have a theory regarding this topic, I thought I would make more of a discussion video just talking about this topic and the Japanese Pantheon altogether and just get it out of my system. So without further ado, let's get to it. Hey, how's it going guys? Kaptain Kuba here, and today we're going to be talking about the Light Elves and a possible connection to the Japanese Pantheon. I don't think anyone in the God of War community has talked about this, so I think it's a good idea to just continue the discussion and see where we land on a theory or something like that. Like I said in my intro, this topic has caused a little bit of a divisiveness in the God of War community. Some people think these are actually katanas, and some people think these are not. These are more of a saber weapon. Or some even have said a scimitar, I forgot how to pronounce that, scimitar maybe? But if I'm being honest, I believe these weapons have more of a commonality with the katanas as opposed to the scimitar. First of all, let's look at the hilt. They have that black and white interlaced material commonly seen in katanas. And the crossguard seems to be similar as well. But on the other hand of the argument, fans have pointed out that the size of the blade is too thick for it to be a katana. So we are left not really knowing what these weapons are. The most likely theory is that these weapons are original to the God of War universe, although Santa Monica has taken some liberties and added some Japanese aesthetics to the weapon. But this is something Santa Monica has to be careful with doing, because God of War 2018 already confirmed the Japanese Pantheon in one of Tyr's tapestries. So this has left fans wondering, including myself, whether this is Santa Monica's way of teasing the Japanese Pantheon for the next game in the series, as opposed to, say, Egypt. Now, before we get to this topic of whether God of War will ever go to the Japanese Pantheon, I do want to talk about something else. I want to talk about why, out of all the enemies in God of War Ragnarok, the Light Elves are the enemies that make the most sense for them to have connections with other pantheons. In a tapestry found in God of War 2018, we see all manner of creatures working together with Tyr to build his temple. Among those creatures, we see the Light Elves, with the leader bringing what seems to be a door with multiple arrows signifying realm travel. I'm sure this is what it means, because as Freyr says to Kratos, the light of Alfheim is essentially the fuel used to travel between realms. This is why Kratos needed to soak the Bifrost in it in order to travel back. Now, God of War 2018 is very clear that Tyr used the Unity Stone to travel to other realms. But maybe the Light Elves have found a way to reverse engineer the magical properties of the light of Alfheim and use it to travel to other pantheons, just like Tyr did with the Unity Stone. Maybe this is why we see them wield weapons that look like katanas from the Japanese Pantheon. It's very possible this is the reason for the Light Elves fighting the Dark Elves. As Cory Barlog has said many times before, the Dark Elves and the Light Elves are the same race. But the fight for control of the light of Alfheim has been going on for hundreds of years, to the point that no one remembers why they're fighting. Maybe this is why. Maybe there were a group of elves who wanted to exchange powers with other pantheons, and another group didn't. Another factor we have to consider is Freyr himself, the elusive leader of the Vanir gods. The reason I say he's elusive is because to this day, we still don't know where he is. After finishing God of War 2018, if you go back to Alfheim, you will find a note of the Light Elves looking for their leader, Freyr. And up to this day, I haven't really made a theory video about where he could possibly be, but that is changing today. After seeing this weapon, I came up with an idea that I think some of you might like. As you guys know, in the Norse Pantheon there was also a great war. This war was fought between Aesir gods and Vanir gods, but both sides were so equally matched that the war resulted in a stalemate, and Mimir offered a solution. Freya, one of the leader of the Vanir gods, would marry Odin, her enemy, and this would bring peace to the realms. But we can't forget the fact that the war ended in a stalemate, and maybe Freyr, as leader of the Vanir gods, is looking for an ally to beat the Aesir gods in the next fight. What if these allies is another pantheon entirely, the Japanese Pantheon? And once again, maybe this is why we see the Light Elves wielding weapons that look like katanas. I don't know, this is just an idea I had. Maybe these are weapons original to the God of War universe that do look a little bit Japanese, but there's no connection there. Anyway, there's actually another shot in the trailer that looks nothing like the Alfheim we've seen before. I've said this many times, but it looks Egyptian or Mesopotamian or somewhere in the Middle East. but I'm gonna save that for my next video. Now I want to get back to the question a lot of people clicked on this video for. Do I think the God of War series is ever going to the Japanese Pantheon? But before I can answer that question, I want you to look at this fan art created by Kyle Grech. Boy, I really hope he doesn't mind me using his artwork in my video, but just in case, definitely check out his art station. He really is a talented artist, and I'm sure he's open for commission. And hey, if you know him, you can also let him know about my God of War art contest. I'm sure he would like to be in it, maybe. Anyway, let's talk about his artwork for a little bit. Even though Kyle's attention to detail, the shading, coloring, character position is on point, don't you find it odd when you see Kratos wielding a katana and wearing a Japanese attire? If you're like me, you probably do, and I think the reason is because Kratos as a character doesn't belong in the Japanese pantheon. Sure, I like Ghost of Tsushima, but I don't really know too much about the Japanese culture. But I do know that their soldiers, aka the samurais, were all about precision and just calculated hits, and on the other hand, we have Kratos.
Whispers through the trees. A cool bed beneath the stars. Growing ever stronger.
How can you put a Spartan, whose main power is rage, with a weapon called the Blades of Chaos in an environment that's mostly calm? I'm sure it wouldn't be like that always in the Japanese pantheon, but the tone of that pantheon just doesn't fit Kratos. Now Atreus, on the other hand, I think he's perfect for it. Unlike his father, Atreus' main power seems to be communicating with animals, and his weapon of choice is the bow and arrow, a weapon that requires patience and precision. This goes back to my idea of Santa Monica probably dividing the God of War series into two characters. On one side, we have Atreus going to pantheons that fit him tonally, and on the other side, we have Kratos going to other pantheons that fit him tonally as a character. So if you ask me what pantheon I think will be next in the series, for that I will say it depends on which character we're gonna play as. If we're gonna play as Atreus, it'll probably be Japan, but if we play as Kratos, maybe Egyptian or Aztec, something more brutal. But anyway, this has been a long enough video of me rambling about the Japanese pantheon or the Light Elves and just whether Kratos would go to Japan or not. But let's not end the discussion here. Like I always say in my videos, please make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Whether you have theories about the Japanese pantheon, Kratos wielding a katanas, the Light Elves, you can leave all of it there. I love reading your comments whenever I get the chance. So yeah. As always, I want to give a big thanks to all of my members for supporting this channel monthly. People like KJ, Kyler Callan, Matt Sanders, Aziz, Inner Chakra, Matt, Edios, and many more. Make sure this channel stays afloat monthly without the help of sponsors or anything like that. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I know I say that a lot, but I honestly do mean it. Thank you so much for your support. I would also like to thank people who like and share my videos. It doesn't seem like much, but it really does help. So with that said, thanks for watching, and remember, go forth in the name of Ragnarok.